Okay, so today we have market patterns. So market pattern is actually a very easy topic to understand. Nothing very complicated. It's like if you're going back to elementary school just to learn different type of shapes. So we're gonna cover four different patterns, right? Again, the market, there's many different traders that trade different patterns, but we're gonna focus the one that obviously is more effective. So check this out. We have bearish patterns and we have bullish pattern. We have the double top, head and shoulder, double bottom, and an inverted head and shoulder. So we're gonna go over the double top, right? So check this out. The double top, as you guys can see, is shaped as an M shape, right? So the double top, you're either gonna find it on top of the market, right, when the market is ready to switch structure, which obviously you guys are gonna find this whenever price is heading to the upside and this is gonna have a switch to go to a downside, or you guys can also find it whenever price is having the continuation to the downside, right? So let me give you guys a quick example. Whenever price is creating these higher highs and higher lows, right, we come up here to form a new higher high, price forms a higher low, but then we come back to create a high, right? So this over here identified that price failed to break above and to create a higher high, meaning that price is already losing the momentum to continue the high movement, right? So this is whenever the double top pattern creates, right? Now we have this middle thing over here, which is obviously called as a higher low, but in this point, whenever we're trading double top, this can also be called as a neckline, right? So the idea to enter these trades over here is to wait for the pullback and the break under the neckline. So we went from creating these higher highs and higher lows, we formed the double top, and then price broke under the neckline. So idea is to wait for price to pull back, retest the neckline, use it as resistant at this case, and you obviously you guys gotta wait, make sure that price remains under, right? So once we do break under, wait for the pullback, retest neckline, make sure that price use this area of resistance, use this area of previous support to use it as resistance to then enter off the trade, right? Same thing, right? Whenever price is having the trend to the downside and we do form another M shape over here or another double top, right, we obviously want to wait for the same exact thing. Just wait for price to break under the neckline, just wait for the pullback, and then this is where you guys want to enter the trade. So whenever you guys enter this trade over here, right, so let me just put this back over here. All right, so once you guys get your confirmation, all this stuff, right, and you guys are gonna enter the trade, right, the idea is to enter your take profit and your stop loss like this. You're gonna have your stop loss above the previous high, right? You're gonna have the previous high over here, and then obviously you guys want to target a 1 and 2 or a 1 and 3, right? So that's the idea to place your stop loss. Okay, so the next pattern that we're gonna go over is the head and shoulder pattern. Same story, you're either gonna find it on top of the market or somewhere in the middle when price is having the continuation to the downside. So we're coming from the uptrend, right? Creating these higher highs, higher low, higher high, and then we form a new point, right? This point over here is gonna be identified as a low, right? The reason why is because this low is not lower than the previous one or higher than the previous one, so it just remains the same, creating it as a low. Now check this out. We formed the right shoulder right over here, right? This right shoulder is also going to be identified as a lower high. The reason why is because this high is not low, is not higher than the previous one, and is lower, right? So it remains as a lower high. So the idea of entering the trade with the head and shoulder is obviously the break under the neckline, right? So whenever you guys want to enter trades of these pattern, right, you guys want to wait for the break either above the neckline or under the neckline, right? So in the bearish pattern, we want to wait for the break under the neckline. For the bullish pattern, we want to wait for the break above the neckline, right? So once we do create this left shoulder right over here, right shoulder, and then left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder right over here, the idea is to wait for price to break under the neckline. If we do get the break under the neckline, then you guys want to wait for the pullback, right? Always want to wait for the pullback so you can have it can be a way better confirmation. The price has way better or high probability of heading to a downside and switching different structure, right? So wait for the pullback, wait for price to retest the neckline. If price does remain under, give you guys those confirmation and your sell entry. You guys want to enter your trade, and then this is where you guys want to enter the sell, right? So the idea is to enter the trade somewhere over here, and then your stop loss is going to be above the previous right shoulder right over here, and then obviously you guys want to target previous targets or a 1 and 2 to a 1 and 3 risk to reward. All right, so going to the bullish pattern, right? So notice we have the double bottom and the inverted head and shoulder. Notice how these two patterns is the same exact pattern as the bearish pattern. The only difference is obviously upside down, and it's just a different bias, which is bias, right? So the double bottom, you guys gonna find it on the bottom of the market or whenever price is having the continuation to the upside, right? So check this out. In this case, we're coming from the lower lows and lower high. We have a low point over here, a lower high point over here, and then we have a low point right over here, right? Same story. The reason why it's a low because this low is not higher or lower than the previous one, so it just remains as a low. Now the idea of entering the trade is the same exact idea of entering this other trade over here. Obviously you guys just want to wait for the break above the neckline, right? So once we do have a break above the neckline, this is where price is already telling you that we're having a switch of structure, right? So break above it, right? We form a new high point over here, price pullbacks and forms the new higher low, which is the retest of the neckline right over here. Obviously, you guys want to wait for your confirmation, which is either any bullish confirmation, and then you obviously want to make sure that price does remain above it, right? So once you guys get all those confirmation, you guys want to enter your trade and then just look for buys, right? Same story. Your stop loss is always going to be under the previous lows over here, and then you either want to target previous targets and then previous target or a 1 and 2 to a 1 and 3 risk to reward trade. Now the other one that we have is the inverted head and shoulder. This inverted head and shoulder is my personal favorite pattern to trade, right? So same story, you're coming from creating these lower lows and lower highs. Let me just put this right over here for you guys. Let me make this smaller. All right, so we're coming from creating these lower lows and lower highs. So we have the left shoulder form, right? We have the left shoulder form. We have the lower high, the low point, we have the high point right over here. The reason why is this high is because this high is not higher or lower than the previous one. Then we have a higher low. This is the higher low because this low is higher than the previous one, right? So whenever price does manage to break above the neckline, obviously the idea is to wait for price to pull back, retest this neckline, use it as support, have this bullish confirmation. This is where you guys want to enter off your trade, right? So very simple, easy ways to trade these patterns. This is only 4 patterns that I personally trade. My favorite one is the inverted head and shoulder, right? So as you guys can see, it's very easy to understand this. I do recommend you guys to go into the actual chart and just go find this and go practice it and actually trade. Go practice it, you know, and back test how to possibly enter trades off these patterns over here. So that's pretty much it, guys, for this video. Hope you guys enjoy. See you guys in the next one.